but I said, call the most inspiring person you know and find out what they're doing. You know what I mean?
You're right. You're right. It's totally exciting. It's riveting. It's also catchy.
Yeah. Well, rather than just, you can, okay, here's your 5 lists for doing this. Well, those get often boring. Not that they don't have a place, but in some ways, I think if you can catch the energy of someone that is doing interesting, amazing things, that might be the best way to inspire yourself.
That's awesome. And what about girlfriend getaways? That sounds like a riot.
Yeah, there's a trend in the travel business, and it may be not as big as it was, but when this book came out, hotels, resorts, everybody was saying, hey, women have money and women like to travel together. Their husband doesn't want to go with them to whatever it is they're doing. So basically there's 8 different types of getaways. I believe it's 8, like shopping getaways, spa getaways, spiritual getaways. So it's just ideas for things girlfriends can do together on vacations and different packages that they can take. And from a person who's done a lot of girlfriend getaways, in fact, one of the lines I say in there is, fire your therapist and go on a girlfriend getaway. Because you do all the same things. You talk about all your issues, you have a good time, and you look at things from a different perspective. You get into a rut in your life and you think, So anyway, it's just a way of stepping out of the rut, and a vacation's a great way to do that. So basically, it's just a way to, brighten your life, I guess.
There's also something very interesting. I traveled when I was 21, and my first trip out of the United States was to India. And I'd never traveled outside of the U.S.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I got arrested at the Taj Mahal.
But
it's actually a very funny story. I got arrested at the Taj Mahal, and what happened is I went in, and then, of course, there's the king's tomb, right?
Uh-huh.
So there was a little fire there. There was a little candle. And I walked in, and I had a money belt on, and I took one of the rupees, and I put it down near the candle because people had left rupees near this candle. So I went back, and I was touching the wall and looking at the wall, and all of a sudden, these 2 guys come up to me, "Madam, come with us." And I was like, "What? You're under arrest." I said, "What?" And they said, "Counterfeit, counterfeit, counterfeit. Please give us your passport." And of course, I was really young, and I didn't know what the heck they were talking about. So I said, "What are you talking about?" And they said, "What is this?" And they present this bill to me. It was a rupee. And I said, "What is what?" He goes, "What is this?" I said, "It's a rupee." "No, it's counterfeit." And he turns it around, and it's a flying bird on the other side of a rupee. Well, apparently, the rickshaw driver in that morning at 4 a.m. that took me to the Taj Mahal had given me a counterfeit bill. Who knew?
Oh, wow.
I didn't see it because all I saw on top was the rupee, the front side. I didn't look at the back side. And who looks at the front and back sides of currency?
Wow. How interesting.
So it was the tour guide that saved me.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, people were like, they handcuffed me. I thought, you know what? I'm Jewish and I'm female. I'm sitting in the Taj Mahal and I'm getting arrested and I'm 19 years old. And I tipped the dead guy. What the heck?
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so it was one of those inspirations. I have many wild stories in India, and I've traveled to Europe and other places. But one of the things I love about your work is the also advocating of travel for inspiration and education and learning and transformation, but also for kids. Travel is incredible for kids.
Yeah, my daughter, she's 16 now, and she loves to travel. I mean, she at her young age has already written 3 travel columns, which, of course, is pretty amazing. She's been paid $75 for each one of them. For a kid her age, that's a pretty big deal.
That's incredible.
You have to work a lot of hours at Dairy Queen to make that kind of money. And plus, she just loves to travel. And now she's really getting into this travel for good. I mean, she's really eager to do more volunteer vacations and that kind of thing. She just really enjoys that. She's in a social awareness club at school. And
really?
Yeah, so she's learning all kinds of things like that and really into it. So I'm real proud of her. She's quite a kid.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Don't you think that there are some, given what's happening to youth today in terms of the quickening and the expediting of the electronic age, because kids are connected to iPhones and cell phones and the internet and everything is electronic. Don't you think that the travel arena is even going to be more impactful because everybody's so over-connected to electronics?
Yeah, I do think that's true. I'm a little concerned with it, actually. I worry, but that's probably typical. The old generation worries about the new. That they're too connected to the screen and to all that.
Well,
kind
I'm
of
worried
stuff.
too. I find that our youth has been hijacked.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah. I am concerned about that, but you have to just continue to believe in the best, and that because there's so much good from all the connection
that's
as well.
true.
There's
true.
There's the so it just depends on what you want to focus on. Sometimes I do focus on the worry, like, oh, they're just too into the screen thing. But there's so many positives to focus on, so I guess I just keep making that decision to focus on that.
I think ultimately it's all how the kids are trained and brought up, because if they're brought up seeking positive energy and life-giving conversation and discovery, they're going to find it on the internet. And if they're brought up in a negative, lower vibrational focus, that's where they're going to go to.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you always, find that what you look for. I mean, that's exactly, what life is about. It's, you find what you expect, what you want even is what you get. I mean, it's kind of scary to think, wow, did I want that? But that's what I believe is that, we do, because the truth is there's so much, every possibility is ours, but we, get cemented into a small possibility. And I think, that's what happens. We think that's what reality is. Well, it's not. That's just our making of, shrinking down all the possibilities into a little box. So we all live in these little boxes.
Are you doing a lot of self-publishing now? Because it sounds like you can come up with books very quickly.
Well, no. I self-published Jumpstart first, and then, Simon & Schuster bought it, Fireside for Simon & Schuster. I self-published the Recycle This book because it's done on grocery bags, recycled grocery bags. So when I say recycle it, I mean, I'm really serious.
Wow.
Although a better way to recycle it is to give it to someone else so then they can read the tips as well. But no, I haven't self-published other than those two books. I started a little Patootie Press, and I did both of those books with Patootie Press. But mostly I, sell to publishers. Although, the publishing industry is changing, and I may possibly get into doing some self-publishing. I don't know. I'm kind of open to new ideas and new avenues and kind of exploring some new things. So we'll see what happens next.
I think the nice thing about self-publishing is that you can reduce the cost of bringing a book to market and to make it available, and you can seed the book. You can actually put it into consciousness and allow consciousness to move it without having to do huge, big runs.
Right,
and very, very expensive runs. And then the other thing is the publisher has a new role to play that publishers typically didn't think about before, which is that people can now name their own books, test their own books, dress their own books, and have their own editors. It doesn't take that long once you have your content to organize it and put it together. Mm-hmm. And the speed to market, that whole paradigm has changed.
Yeah, well, part of the reason with this recycle book, I mean, I wanted to have it come out at Earth Day, and I think I came up with it in February. Of course, Earth Day's in April, so there's no way. I mean, it might have come out Earth Day the following year if I'd have gone with a publisher, but because I wanted this unusual thing, publishing on the grocery bags, I just did it myself. It was like, okay, if you want to get this done, you better do it. So I did. And it was mostly a local production. I mean, I got some mention in a Canadian magazine, and it's a wonderful book. But I self-published them all. I mean, I even printed them all myself, so I didn't do a huge run or anything. But I had fun with it. I got a lot of publicity.
You know what's interesting about self-publishing, too? I just want to add that years ago, if you self-published, there was a stigma to you and your book. In other words, it meant you were rejected from, quote, real authority-like publishers. Mm-hmm. And there was a stigma attached to it. Not today. If you're an author and you got something to say and you got something you consider important and you're passionate about, you're an author and you can publish immediately. And you don't need a publisher to validate your contribution and your offering. It's also true with radio and television content now. The entire paradigm for communication is different. And it used to be even as late as 2004, when I went off traditional radio and I took the show to the internet, it was like there wasn't the same attention. Literally in